In this video, we're going to take a look at the standard enthalpy change of formation and how we can use enthalpy changes of formation to figure out the enthalpy change of a reaction, just given those values. So let's start out with the formal definition of standard enthalpy change of formation. It's given the symbol delta H of F, and it should have this little circle with the dash in it to show that we're at standard conditions. Essentially, the definition is it's the enthalpy change when 1 mole of a substance in its standard state is formed from its elements in their standard states under standard conditions of temperature and pressure. So there's a lot of standard in there. Really, what we're talking about is 100 kPa, and for the majority of the time at 298 Kelvin. So it's kind of complicated in terms of its definition, but really it is basically writing out synthesis reactions for different compounds from their elements and measuring the enthalpy change that goes along with that. So the one thing to kind of note is that the delta H then of formation for any element in its standard state is always going to be 0. And that's because there's no actual change that's happening there. So if you had calcium in its standard state and we're writing the formation equation, it would just be calcium in its standard state as the product. So the delta H of formation in this case is 0. And just kind of one really sort of important thing to keep in mind. So before we get into, well, how do we use delta HFs and calculations, we first need to practice writing out formation reactions. So we're going to just do a couple of examples here. Let's start with liquid ethanol. So ethanol is C2H6OH, and it tells us what the state is. So it's a liquid. Now, we need to then say what elements this is forming from. So it's forming from carbon by itself. It's forming from hydrogen, remembering that hydrogen is always diatomic, and oxygen. And oxygen as well is always diatomic. Now, when you balance this, you want to balance it so that you end up with 1 mole of your product. So you might actually end up with fractions here, and that is totally okay. So for the O2, we need 1/2. For the H2, we need 7/2. And then for the carbon, we need a 2. Looking at the next one, calcium carbonate, CaCO3, tells us it's a solid, so we're going to put the solid in there. And then that's formed from calcium, carbon, and oxygen. Remembering that oxygen is diatomic. So we got 3 halves there, and then 1 and 1. And so that's balanced. Okay, so you might be asking, well, don't we need state symbols for all of these things here? Yeah, we do. And we need to get them, and we can actually get them from data tables that are readily available. So let's take a look and see how we figure out standard states of the elements. So this periodic table particularly tells you melting point and boiling point of every single element. This is table 6 in the IB data booklet as of when I'm recording this, but there's lots of these sort of tables around, so you could find them wherever you need to. So what you want to do is, if we were looking at carbon and taking a look at carbon, you can see its melting point is 3925. Its boiling point is 5100. This is in Kelvin. If we're talking about at 298 Kelvin, then carbon is below its melting point, so it would be in the solid state. If you looked at oxygen instead, we got 55 and 90. So at 298, it's above its boiling point, which means it's a gas. Okay, and so on and so forth. So going back now, we can fill in all of our state symbols. So carbon's a solid, hydrogen and oxygen are both gases, and calcium's a solid, carbon's a solid, and O2 is a gas. So formation reactions they're balanced for 1 mole of the product, and they may have fractions, and they have state symbols written down for everything. So you can actually use enthalpies of formation, and you can use Hess's law to figure out the enthalpy change for any reaction. So if we were going from reactants to products, and we were trying to figure out this delta H of reaction here, and we knew the enthalpy changes of formation, so the elements in their standard states going to reactants and then going to products, we can take this indirect route here to figure out the enthalpy change of our reaction. And so that means we need to take the negative delta H of formation of all of our reactants and the positive delta H of formation of all of our products. Or we could sum this up into a really nice equation here where we have the sum of all of our delta H of formation of our products minus the sum of our delta H of formation of all of our reactants. And that will give us the delta H of our reaction. Now we do have to pay attention. If there's a coefficient, we do need to multiply the delta H of formation by that coefficient. So let's look at an example here. We're trying to figure out the delta H of the reaction here. And we can look up all of the different standard enthalpies of formation. So I'm just going to kind of give them to you here, but let's set out our equations. So our delta H of our reaction is going to be the sum of all of our delta H of our products minus the sum of all of our delta H of formation of our reactants. So sometimes it's kind of nice to go through and kind of lay each one out just so you know what you're doing. So we got the delta H of formation of calcium chloride plus the one for water plus the one for CO2. And then we're going to subtract the two reactants. We're going to subtract the delta H of formation of calcium carbonate. And then we're also going to subtract the delta H of formation of HCl and multiply that one by 2 because there is a coefficient of 2 there. So if we kind of look up all the values, I don't want to write them all down, but there are data tables that you can look them all up. And once we kind of plug that in, we should get negative 82.5 kilojoules per mole. So the delta H of our reaction, we got straight from the delta H of formation values of all of the different components of our reaction. Really nice way to basically use Hess's law as well as some data tables that we have available to figure out the delta H of reaction of pretty much any reaction we would want to figure out. That's it then for this video. We'll see you in the next one.